If you're fighting to make the move to Windows 10 and really want to stick with Windows 7, don't worry. Microsoft has heard your cries and have extended support to January 10th, 2023. Yes, for 3 more years longer with their ESU, that is their extended service upgrade. There is an additional fee for this service, and it is only available to professional and enterprise editions of Windows 7. For everyone else, we'll see you in Windows 10. My name is Aaron Moss, your host, and this is Season 2 of Technology Frustrations and Gimmicks with the theme of online privacy and security and protecting your identity both online and off. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode on Podbean, iTunes, iHeartRadio, and the Computer Doctor website. Before we get into our featured topic, a quick word from our sponsor. Please do try to do business with these companies. It really helps us here at the show to make more informative shows more often. Do you or someone you know have an electric bill on the rise? Are they paying more than $100, $200, or $300 every month just to keep comfortable in the summer? The solution you're looking for might be solar energy with Icon Power. Call 520-307-1013. They can take a 3D model of your house, estimate your annual usage, and design a solar system that can meet or exceed your annual energy usage. And even if your system generates more energy than you use, your electric company sends you a check. Call Julie Festerling at Icon Power at 520-307-1013 and tell them the Technology Frustration Show sent you. Do you own your own business without your own website? Websites are still the best way to control the space where you draw your clients. If you have no website or need a website updated, corrected, recovered, or made mobile friendly or promoted to the top of Google, call the experts at Energous Marketing at 520-606-0937. Again, that's 520-606-0937, and tell them that the Technology Frustration Show sent you. Our featured topic for Season 2 is privacy and security and protecting your identity both online and off. And we have a total of 80 tips, most of which are exclusive to this show. So listen close as we go to tip number 1, and that is to pay with cash. Paying with cash is actually very obvious because cash is usually not traceable. The only tracing ability that cash has is the serial numbers that are on the bills. And these are only used when they are tracking where the bills have gone and what hands they've exchanged, but they don't carry any personal information. Just because you have these bills in your possession doesn't necessarily mean that anyone is necessarily gathering information about you. They're untraceable. So, does that mean that handling cash is always the safest? Well, no, because it does not necessarily have your name on it. You can't establish possession of it, only that it is in your physical possession. Can you actually say that it belongs to you? So this is very different when it comes to banking transactions, where you can actually trace back where something came from or how it got there. That is not the case with cash, obviously, but no one can actually steal your identity by stealing cash from you. But you do lose the value of what you've lost in the value of the cash. That moves us to tip number 2, and that is to use an alias. An alias is just an alternative name that you like to use, or give something else rather than your usual name. Establish a second identity. This second identity could have their own email address, perhaps their own phone number, maybe a unique quirk about them. Think about, and develop this imaginary character yourself, and anytime you're dealing with someone shady or someone that you don't trust, or a person that you would prefer not to know who you really are, that's when you can use your alias. And it's really up to you as to how far and how intricate you want to make this made-up character. This person could be based on someone that you actually know. As a matter of fact, it is recommended that you do base it on someone that you actually know. Therefore, when specifics about the character or specifics about what the person likes, dislikes, where they're from, you can easily just think of this other person in your life as your alias, obviously using a different name. Tip number 3, and that is to keep credit cards in an anti-static wallet. So with this day and age, with all of these chip and wireless cards that you get in the mail that have that tap feature where you tap the mechanism at the cash register, the card reader, you may not have to swipe. As a matter of fact, in the United States, if your card does have a chip on it, and if you try to swipe, it's not going to accept the swipe unless you try to use the reader. It's going to force you to use the reader. These cards also have the ability so that you can just tap the card onto the reader, and it will read the card through a wireless chip that's in the card as well. What unsuspecting people may do, or what some criminals may, and malicious people with malicious intent may try to do, is try to read your card while it's still in your wallet. Now, you could just be in close quarters. You could have your backpack or your wallet in close proximity when someone's standing very, very close to you. They could pull out a device pretending to be a cash register and pretending that you are purchasing something, move this device close to your wallet or close to your pocketbook, run a transaction, small or large, they decide, and they can actually run a transaction without the card ever leaving your wallet. So the way that you avoid this is to get an anti-static wallet. You can find wallets like this online, or in specialty stores. Another way that you can block these signals from leaving your wallet is by lining your wallet with tin foil. Tin foil will create a barrier so that anything that you put inside of your wallet, within that barrier, no signals will get in or out, and you will be protected. Way number 4 is to pay inside at gas stations. Now this tip goes back a little bit ways. Skimmers are becoming very, very popular and more complicated. They don't seem to be going away. As a matter of fact, the malicious criminals seem to always be finding more and more interesting ways to skim cards, and basically the term skim means to intercept information of you putting in your card, where they can make a copy of your card when you're making a purchase by installing some sort of reading device on the actual transaction machine where you're actually putting in your card and even punching in your bank code or your zip code. So there is the most obvious way to do this, or to protect yourself, is to pay inside. If you're using a card, to walk into the business and pay on the inside. More than likely, the device or the card reader that's on the inside of the gas station has not been tampered with, and the chances of your information being stolen is much less, because the ones that are targeted with skimmers, and again, this is not the gas stations that are doing this, these are malicious criminals that are putting these devices in, without anybody seeing. They know how the pump works and the mechanisms, and they know exactly the models and everything, and they create these devices in their homes, and they attach it to these gas pumps. And gas pumps seem to be the heavy favorite. So if, in order to protect yourself, pay inside at gas stations. Tip number 5, and that is to check the website address bar. Whatever website you're going to, where you're about to enter in a password, an address, a social security number, a bank credit card number, banking information, any sensitive information at any time that you're entering onto a website, before you start typing into that website, look at the top address bar. It should start with HTTPS. HTTP is what most websites start with. HTTP stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Thank you. And the S after the HTTP stands for secure. What that secure, that S actually means, it means that your computer has established a secure connection to the to wherever that website's server is located. It's established a secure tunnel that people cannot intercept information going through that tunnel. Now, the tunnels are good enough. Nothing is 100%, but if you see that letter S and that confirmation lock on your browser's top screen someplace, that is good enough security and protection for you to feel confident enough to put your information and your sensitive information into that website. The other thing that you also have to be careful of is make sure that the website that you're at is in conjunction with the website that you believe or you are trying to do business with. For example, if you're trying to buy something from the Best Buy website, make sure it says bestbuy.com at the top. If you're trying to buy something from Target, make sure it says target.com at the top someplace. Okay? Make sure that it appears early in that in the string of text in the address bar. Sometimes there's lots of gibberish up there, but make sure all the way to the left it starts with something to the effect of the domain that you believe that you're dealing with. If something else is showing up at that address bar, do not type anything into that window. That is probably what's called a phishing site, and they do this on large scale. Hackers will do this on large scale. The malicious intent is that just like you throw out a fishing net to try to catch a lot of fish, this is the same way that they do this. They send out this website, whether it be emails or they attach it to malicious text messages, emails, other messages through social media, hoping that people click on it, believe that it's the real site, and then put their passwords, their phone numbers, their sensitive credit card information, bank information onto this website, and that's how they get the information, and that's how they hack you. So make sure you are always checking that website address bar. Tip number 6, don't lend out your computer. If somebody wants to borrow your computer, whether it be someone that you know, or if you're in a public place and someone just wants to say, hey, I just need to check my email, can I get on your computer real quick? Do not let them. But if you still want to be a really, really nice person, there is something that you can do to your computer so that they can't sabotage your computer or steal any information onto your computer. You can create what's called a guest account or a standard user account. A guest account or standard user account, which can be done on both Windows machines and Apple machines. And if you are experimental and you have a Linux machine, this can be done on Linux as well. There are generally two types of users, administrators and standard users. An administrator has the ability to install programs, to change settings on the computer, whereas a standard user does not. If you create a standard user, you can always log out as you, the administrator, and log the person that's borrowing your computer as a standard user. Obviously, you would want to have a password protection on your administrator account so that they can't log out of standard user and try to get into your administrator mode. So you want to protect that. But if they are legitimately just want to jump on your computer real quick to check something and you want to be nice, still put them on a standard user account. Don't let them have access to your administrator account. They could be putting a piece of software, a keylogger, or some sort of other copying device that will email them sensitive details of your information later. Be very, very wary of people plugging things into your computer, even if it looks like it's just a cord. Sometimes a cord can be mischievously designed to look like just a cord, when in actuality, it's more than just a cord. It could be a thumb drive with just a cord attached to it to make it look like an extension, but it's actually doing something to your computer. Be extremely wary of people plugging things into your computer, and don't give them access. Keep these things in mind, and people won't steal their information from your computer. And just to be safe, don't lend your computer out at all. Tip number 7, and that is to password protect your stuff. And this may seem a little bit basic, but you know what? There's a lot of people that don't do it. They don't password protect their computer. They don't password protect their phone. They don't password protect even their Wi-Fi. So I'll start on the Wi-Fi for a moment. And this kind of goes true with any of the Internet of Things that are out there. Anything that connects to your computer or to your Wi-Fi needs to be protected with a password. If you don't connect it with a password, then that is just a possibility of a leak of a nearby hacker that can get into your computer by way of your network, and they can make educated guesses as to what some of these passwords are if you don't change them from the default settings. For example, never use the password of password as your password. Okay? Many times that is the default way of many routers that are out there, perhaps many computers. Don't use sequential numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and don't use password. Don't use sequential letters like A, B, C, D, E. Things that are most powerful, as many websites will tell you, a combination of special characters, uppercase, lowercase, and numbers should be all part of that password system. But try your best to password protect all of your stuff that is connected to the internet. In that way, it is harder for people to hack you. And try to use different passwords for every device. That way, if they're able to figure out the password of one thing, they don't automatically have passwords to 10 other things that you have access to. That brings us to way number 8. And that is to use the fax or snail mail when sending sensitive documents. So, many of us have heard of what a fax machine is. And did you know that you can still mail things? Mail and fax are still extremely secure. Never ever text things or send things in the mail by way of social media. All of that can be seen by others, and it's something that's not recommended even by the social media privacy statements. So if you want to send your for example, bank credentials or credit card numbers to someone in another state, if they have a fax machine, try to fax it. If they have a mailing address, try to mail it. Yes, it may mean that you may have to get out of your house, go to the post office and buy a 50-cent stamp, if that's what the prices are now, and mail it in the mailbox. It's a little bit more of a hassle, but it is a whole lot safer. And plus you're protected by a lot of the mail laws that are out there. So also, if you have a fax machine, you can usually pick up fax machines pretty cheap. There are usually people giving away them for free on local buy and sell groups, or Facebook buy and sell groups, buy and sell apps, websites like Craigslist that are still up and running. If you go to their free section, it's not that hard to find someone who's giving away a free fax machine. So it's not that hard to acquire a free fax machine, but it is a little bit more hard to acquire a analog landline phone to plug into the fax machine to send a fax. So you may have to make a phone call to your local service provider or phone provider, your internet provider, in order to get that working. But once you get that figured out, and it's something that you're doing a lot, that you're always sending information out, you might want to insist on some of your vendors or people that you deal with to accept faxes from you. So we here at the Computer Doctor of Tucson can also help you out with that, as far as acquiring a phone number and getting a free landline-based phone system if your internet service provider is unable to help you, or they don't have a good enough deal. We have a way of you paying $70 one time, and you can have unlimited landline service from your house that runs off the internet, and it'll pretty much run forever, more or less. That is it for this episode of Technology Frustrations and Gimmicks, which is sponsored by Computer Doctor of Tucson, and we do amazing things over the phone with our phone support across the United States. Call our main phone number at 520-261-5508, or visit our website at computerdoctor.xyz. Computer Doctor of Tucson, because technology is great when it works. Regardless of what platform you're using to listen to this podcast, there is a share button. Please help us out and share this episode with friends, family, colleagues on social media, email, or direct them to our website at www.techshow.xyz. Also send us a text at 520-261-5508 for any and all comments, questions about the show. Stay tuned for more episodes of the show. Until then, see you next time.